anything that you go through, there's a lesson in there somewhere. But if you're not paying attention to the lesson, you'll overlook it and you'll have that woe was me. You'll be in a state of ungratefulness. And I think that that's very important again while you're on your journey to have that state of just constantly being grateful. What I'll tell you is that my wife and I are, our family is in a very good financial situation. We live in a very nice home, very nice neighborhood, things of that nature. However, we, or me, anyway, I'll talk about myself. I still at times go through bouts of ungratefulness. Hey, family. This is Che Willis coming back with another episode of Wealth is a Journey podcast. Guys, this is episode 78. We almost to 100, man. I'm so grateful to be able to do this to hopefully help impact people's lives. This has been an amazing experience, man. Just thinking back from episode 1 and then 78 weeks later, we still doing it. But before we get started, as always, if you are a first-time listener, watcher, or subscriber, thank you so much for tuning into the Wealth is a Journey podcast. On this podcast, we talk about faith, family, and finances, among other things. If you are a return listener, watcher, or subscriber, thank you so much for tuning back in with us. We are hopefully valuing, enriching your lives. I don't even know if in valuing is even a word. However, we'd like to thank you for coming back. Hopefully, we are enriching your lives on the way to the M's because, again, as always, we are on our way to the M's. Before I actually get started on what I wanted to talk about today, I just wanted to just uh, warn you because it just popped in my spirit to talk about. So I'm just going to just talk about it real quick. Uh, Things to watch out for. Just actually one thing to watch out for. I talk about often, if you're a new watcher or listener to this podcast, about different ways that the enemy comes in and tries to derail you from where you're trying to go on whatever journey you're on. So it could be wealth building, it could be weight loss, it could be being a better father, husband, business owner, whatever the case may be. But you do have an enemy, and the enemy's plan is to derail you from getting to your destination, whatever that destination looks like, wherever that destination is. What I mean by that is once you have one thing or one area on your journey, checked off, like if it's, uh, eating a certain food or whatever the case may be, and you got that taken care of. Like I don't eat sugary stuff anymore or drink sugary stuff anymore. The enemy will come in the back door another way to try to derail you from your weight loss journey. So for me specifically, I'm trying to get this message out to the world of hope, of you can do it, financial freedom, all the things. So for me, in order for me to get the message out, I have to have a clear mind, right? But the enemy's job is to derail me from getting this message out because he wants to keep people in despair and things of that nature. So uh this week I've been getting so bogged down with little dumb things. And the things are there like little landmines set up to stop me or to have me say, you know what, forget it. I'm not recording this week, or I'm not doing something this week that's going to help further get this message out. So, like just little things happen and they just pile on, little thing after little thing after little thing, it piles on. And the design of those little things are to stop you, to say, you know what, maybe I'll do it next week because I'm so busy. I don't feel like it. So I'm saying all that to say that when you're on your journey, just look for those little landmines that hopefully you can identify what I'm talking about, but look for those little landmines that the enemy sets up for you to derail you from getting to whatever destination, goal, or where you're desiring yourself to be. I think that's very, very important while you're on your journey. And I think it's not talked about enough because like the mental piece of you getting to your destination is uh much more important than we think. The mental toughness that you need to get to where you want to go in any journey that you're on. So that was on my heart, and I wanted to make sure that I shared that. But now we're going to get to uh, what I'm going to talk about today. And today we're going to talk about gratitude. Gratitude is super, super important while you're on any journey or any walk that you're on, trying to get to the M's, trying to get to whatever destination you are getting to. And the reason that I'm talking about gratitude is because I had an opportunity a couple weeks ago, and I want to shout out to Barry Ford, Mr. Ford. Apologize to Mr. Ford, who gave me the opportunity to speak to some teenagers about financial literacy in a low income area of New Jersey. It was an awesome experience, and it just put me back to when I was a kid, and the things that I saw in my neighborhood, in my home, um, the look on the kids' faces, like the anger, um, the hey, what does this guy know about my life? Even though I could probably identify with them, more than they knew before I started talking. And it was just an awesome experience to open their eyes to, hey, although I didn't come from an area where people were shooting and there were a lot of killings and things of that nature. I didn't go through that, and that's okay. But I did have challenges. I did have a lot of struggles that I had to overcome to get to where I am today. And that was my message to them. To the overarching theme of what I talked about is my favorite Napoleon Hill quote is every adversity brings with it the seed of an equivalent benefit, meaning that anything that you go through, there's a lesson in there somewhere. But if you're not paying attention to the lesson, you'll overlook it and you'll have that woe is me. You'll be in a state of ungratefulness. And I think that that's very important again while you're on your journey to have that state of just constantly being grateful. What I'll tell you is that my wife and I our family is in a very good financial situation. We live in a very nice home, very nice neighborhood, things of that nature. However, we or me, anyway, I'll talk about myself. I still at times go through bouts of ungratefulness. Um, why am I not here? Not living in the present. And I think again, it's very important to talk about because we need to constantly live in a state of great gratitude, meaning that we're living in a constant thankfulness and um, expectation. We're expecting good things to happen for us, even though they may not look the way that we want them to look. So the whole thing of this came from me speaking to those kids and helping them to understand that uh, although things don't look the greatest for you right now, if you take the lesson, if you look at your surroundings and see why some of the people are in the state that they're in and take those lessons, and even if your parents are not teaching you about financial literacy, if you're paying attention, you can see why they are where they are and hopefully make different decisions. The friend groups that you're in, seeing who are um, who are not the best friends, who are the friends that are not making the best decisions. And if you want to go somewhere in life, maybe I don't want to hang with them at this point in time because I may be weak and I may be easily influenced. So, anyway, so we're going to talk about gratitude today, as adults, though, and we're going to talk about, just a few key things that is going to help us on our journey to stay in a constant state of gratitude. And this is a walk that is very important to me because it's a constant battle for me personally. So hopefully, you'll be able to identify with, some of the traps that we're walking along our journey, and we can identify these traps and then maybe make a different decision and go another way. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the feelings, and being able to recognize, um, the first thing is actually recognition. Okay, recognition of the feelings that you feel when you're in a state of ungratefulness. And the look maybe looking on social media and seeing somebody who is where you want to be, and you getting angry, and it putting you in a different mood. So you say you're happy before you jump on, say, social media, and then you start scrolling, and then you look and see a person who is where you want to be. And instead of using them for motivation, you get angry. Why am I not where this person is? When you may not have put the work in that that person put in to get to where they are. So we need to identify the feeling, and we need to pinpoint it, and we need to address it.
Are you tired of living paycheck to paycheck? Are you tired of using your credit cards as an emergency fund? Are you tired of getting stressed out anytime you think about money? If the answer to any of those questions is yes, I'm here to help. My name is Che Willis, and I help families living paycheck to paycheck live the life that they want to live through budgeting and investing. And I understand the word budgeting may be scary. However, we're trying to take the fear out of that word. All we're doing is telling our money where to go, as well as reducing our expenses and taking that money, marching it into the marketplace, and making us some money babies. That's all we're doing. So if you need help, please go to wealthisajourney.com. Again, wealthisajourney.com. There are free resources on there for budgeting tools. There are digital products on there to help you on your investing journey, and there's one-on-one coaching. So if you need help, go to wealthisajourney.com today. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Like when I'm getting ungrateful, I got to kind of reel myself back in, especially if I'm by myself. So if you're by yourself, you have to be, and it's an exercise. It's not something that's going to, you're not just going to, identify it right away, but you have to, you have to, um, uh, be sensitive enough to recognize it when it first happens, and then identify it again when it happens the next time, and the next time, and the next time. And then it's like going to the gym. You get that muscle, and then you'll be like, okay, I recognize this here, and I need to address this before it goes further than it should. So hopefully that makes sense. So number one is recognize the feelings. Number two, number two is look for the lesson. Look for the lesson in whatever the feeling is bringing to you. So if it's not, if it's okay, well, I'm not where this person is in my life, in my life, my personal journey. You need to think to yourself, okay, well, how did this person get to where they are, and am I willing to go through the things that they went through to get to where they are? So we need to understand if you're prepared to go through the things that they went through to get to where they are. That's very, very important, because a lot of times we get jealous, or we're in a state of ungratefulness because we see people and we're not where they are, and then we get upset. But we need to look for the lesson and figure out, are we willing to go on this journey? And if you're not, stop it. Stop being ungrateful. Okay. Number three, this is a very, very good way to remain grateful when you're in a state of ungratefulness. Think about the person who has it worse than you. Contrary to what you may think, there are a ton of people that have it way worse than you. Those people may be when you're driving along the inner city, or whatever, wherever you're driving, and you may see a homeless person. They would love to have the problems that you have. There may be a person with a disability. I'm sure that they would love to have the issues that you have. And then once you start looking at those people, and there's a ton of other people that you can probably identify with that have it way worse than you do, that can put you in a better state of mind and change your perspective on things and help you have a better outlook on your situation. Because again, what I talked about earlier, and I'm tying this in now, is that the ungratefulness is tied to your expectation for bad things to happen to you, which is a trap and a landmine of the enemy to make you feel like your situation is, first of all, it's only you going through this, and then also you make to make you feel like your situation is way worse than it really is. And once you start thinking about those people that actually have it worse than you do, then that should hopefully put you in a state of gratitude and being in a better mind frame of whatever your situation is, and just knowing that it's about to get better, but it's a matter of perspective. Number four. Number four is live in the present. This is where I struggle. Living in the present is very, very important, because once you start looking ahead of your situation, you're not you're not learning the lessons of the present. If you're paying attention to where you are today, where you sit today, uh, if you're not paying attention, you'll miss the lessons. So we have to make sure that we're settling down and we're living in the present, so we don't look past what we're going through now and learning the lessons that we need to learn to help us in the future. So if you're new to this podcast, you'll know that um, my wife and I, we paid our house off back in November, and it was a great experience. But my thing is I was already, like, even a year or two before we did it, I was looking ahead, looking way ahead, and like I was like, okay, well, cool, we're going to pay our house off, and then once we did it, I was like, okay, well, what's next? Instead of celebrating, like, we celebrated, but like I was already on to the next thing. Like, okay, well, what's next for us? And when we did it, it was like, okay, and and it sounds crazy saying it. So I don't know if it sounds crazy for you guys listening to it, but like I wasn't as grateful as I should have been. And it's because I wasn't living in the present. I was living in the future. And you can't do that, because you'll miss a lot of the lessons, like I said before. And then also, uh, you'll be looking so far ahead that you're not grateful now for what God blessed you with, for the things and the lessons that you're supposed to be learning along the journey. So, um, it's a constant battle for me, man. and I have to constantly remind myself to live in the present. So hopefully, that's something that you can identify with and work on as well. So we have to kind of settle down and slow down because life is moving like super fast, and we're in the information age, and we're on the social media, and we're scrolling, and we're wasting a lot of time doing things, and life goes by super quick. And if we're not in the present and kind of slowing things down, then we're going to miss a lot of the things and a lot of the lessons that we should be learning along the way, that we can impart into our kids, that we can impart into family members, just different things that we've gone through that can be lessons for other people as well. Because I talk about it all the time on this podcast. A lot of the things that we go through are not necessarily about us. They're lessons that we should be learning, so then we can pass them down to the people who are coming behind us. So those are four different lessons, or four different things that we need to look out for on our journey to stay in a state of gratitude. And the theme is to make sure that we have the expectation of good things that are happening for us. And again, the landmine that I talked about earlier is the why me? I'm going through this thing, I'm going through it alone. And you have the expectation, and then that's what the enemy's trying to do. He's trying to have you expect for bad things to happen. And if you're expecting for bad things to happen, how can you live in a state of gratitude? If you're expecting bad things to happen, there's no way that you can do that. So if we change our perspective on the things that are happening to us, and maybe change our mind frame to these things are happening for us, and then we extract the seed of the benefit that the adversity that we're going through, then we'll be able to live in that state of gratitude. So I'm going to go over the four things again. Recognize the feelings, okay, when your mood changes. Number two, look for the lesson or the root cause of your feeling. Number three, think about the person who has it worse than you. Number four, live in the present. And I believe if we can do that, if we can string all four of these things together, we will be able to live in a state of gratitude. So it's a constant, not struggle. It's a constant thing for me to continue to be in a state of gratitude, not living in the present. That's my struggle, or that is my area of opportunity. What's yours? So if you're working on your journey, if you're on your journey to wherever you're trying to go, you're going to need these four things to help you get to where you're trying to go. Because the journey, whatever you're on, it's a long road. It's a long road, and you're going to need that mental toughness. And with that mental toughness, you're going to need to be in a state of gratefulness, because the gratefulness is tied to expectation. You're expecting things to go well for you. You're expecting to get to your destination. You're expecting to extract whatever lessons that you need to learn on your journey, and you're going to need it. I'm telling you, man. So hopefully that helps somebody, man. Um, we have a lot of things going on with Wealth as a Journey. A lot of different speaking opportunities, just based on people watching the podcast. So I appreciate you. Um, and we have a lot of work to do on our journey. So hopefully you guys will continue on this journey with me, because again, we have a lot of work to do, and we have a lot of people that we need to help. And if you get something from me, a lesson that you learn, and then you master something, the call to action is for you to help somebody else. And then that's how we're going to change the world. That's how it's going to happen. You get a lesson from somebody, somebody gets a lesson from you, then somebody gets a lesson from somebody else, and it's a constant thing. And then we're gonna that light is that match is gonna light, and then we're gonna light the world on fire, man. So thank you so much for tuning in. Wealth is a journey. We will see you next week.